Now let's go through. Stein, I understand, talked about. I suppose we talked about products and about appliances. So we'll touch a little bit on some of the. Probably a lot of the practical ones, things that are okay and not okay. We'll give a little bit of the philosophy more for why things are okay and not okay, so you understand what the reality is. Talk a little bit more about cosmetics, which we started talking about, and explain a little bit that. And we're going to start with the search for chametz, how you do it, what you have to search for, how you get rid of it, how that works. So that's two parts we're going to do tonight. We're going to do about searching the chametz, getting rid of it, what you need to do, how do you do that, where do you check, how do you have to clean things, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things that he touched on, but a little more of the background for it, for which products you could use, which cosmetics you could use, and those type of the rationale for that, and some of the other halachas about mixtures of chametz or concerns about chametz. And then we'll have one more class for Pesach at some point, which will go through the laws of the Seder. Okay? That's going to be our goal. All right, so now, if you look at 654, it's going to describe for you a couple of things that we do when we get rid of our chametz. And we mentioned this before, but we have to go through it again. There are three processes that we use to get rid of chametz. Okay? Two are ordained by the sages or the Torah, and one is a somewhat recent custom. Okay? The two that are set up by the Torah or by the or the sages are search and destroy for your chametz, search it and get rid of it. Okay? And the second one is to nullify your chametz. Say, I don't want any chametz. If you say you don't want your chametz, then it's not yours anymore. The problem is not if someone else owns chametz. If a non-Jew walks in your house carrying a baguette, it's not your problem because it's not yours. So one process is going to be search and get rid of it, destroy it. The second process is going to be to nullify it. Nullify it's not mine. Okay? Now, there's an additional thing that we do today, which is to sell the chametz. That's a fairly recent custom. Okay, to sell chametz. It was really not done. There are people that do not sell actual chametz. They find that the sale is questionable. Is it really a sale? Is it not really a sale? Is it a trick? So they don't want to rely on that. And they only sell, many people only sell things that is not really chametz. It's something that maybe you'd be concerned possibly has some chametz in it, but not straight out chametz. There are many people in Israel who do that. You do not need to do that because the sale is going to be a valid sale. We're going to make a real sale, and it's not going to be perfunctory. We're going to go to the non-Jew, and we're going to make a literal sale. He will own your chametz. He can come and take it any time. Okay, that's why I write on which we'll send out this in the next newsletter. You'll have the form of filling in. Don't forget to get me that form. You're going to write the form, what you're selling and where you have your chametz. Okay, and I'm going to write there that where can we get the key, because if the non-Jew wants to come and get his chametz, he needs to know how to get the chametz. Okay, now let's go through these processes. So the first thing you need to do is search and destroy. Okay? Search and destroy. Okay? You need to search your whole house, find it, and get rid of it. Okay, now, the famous question is, if you need to nullify your chametz anyway and not own it, why do you need to bother to search and destroy it? What's the purpose of that? It's not mine. Why should I get rid of it if I say I don't want it? So as I remember, we gave two answers in the past. I remember why you need to search and destroy for it if you're already going to nullify it and say that it's not yours and make the legal declaration that you have ownership of it. And remember the reason we mentioned?
So doesn't it mix them with food?
Similar, not only does it mix in food, that you shouldn't come to eat it. Because although by pork chops, we're not worried you're going to come to eat pork chops if it's in your house, because you don't eat pork chop all year, but since you do eat chametz all year, so if you leave the bottle of Jack on the table, you may go into old habits, if you know what I mean, Aaron. If your l'chaim's there. You see the bottle of Jack, and quick toast for Pesach, to chametz! to getting rid of it. Oh, it's Pesach, sorry. So that's the first problem. It's not enough to nullify because if you leave it around your house, you may come to eat it. What's the second reason why you need to nullify your chom? You need to search and destroy. It's not enough to nullify.
So you don't reacquire.
Not exactly. That's going to be in the other direction, but close. The other reason is that we are not so sure that your intention is so noble when you say, I nullify that $250 bottle of scotch. It's ownerless to me. It's like the dust of the earth. We're not sure we believe that. So since that has to do with your intention, we're not going to rely on you just nullifying it. We're going to say to you, destroy it, get rid of it. Right? But that's why the sale is going to help us, because if you do a $250 bottle of scotch, so you're not going to search and destroy it if you don't want to get rid of it, so the only option is going to be to sell it. So the first thing you need to do is to search, okay? Okay, search and destroy. Now, your house has to be clean for, it has to be clean that you can search, okay? I'm not talking about the kitchen right now, I'm talking about the rest of the house. It really just has to be, like kind of organized that you could check the house for chametz. Okay, people make a crazy mistake. Dirt is not chametz. You don't need to go and to scrub the thing in the bottom. You don't need to do that stuff. We're not talking about crumbs on the floor, though you should vacuum. But technically, that's really nothing. Dirty crumbs on the floor are not a problem of owning chametz. Okay. The Talmud says, "Pruim batum elem," that crumbs are nullified anyway. Even if they're in your house, who wants to eat a dirty crumb? Right? So, what you're really looking for is actual chametz, a piece of bread, a cracker, something, something that's a certain significant amount of clean chametz. So now, you got to check any place in your house that chametz is going to be found in. Okay, which means your car. People often mistake. They don't realize their car needs to be checked. Places where chametz goes. Places chametz never goes. No, your attic. You don't bring in your attic. Let's say, you have to check your attic for chametz. But the Talmud says, for example, if you keep stuff up there, or sometimes you may go up there during the meal and you bring something up, then maybe it's a place you might bring chametz to. Then it needs to be checked. Now, what I'm talking about now is the cleaning before the checking. So the cleaning could be a general organizational clean. Okay? People spend months before cleaning. You can if you want, but that's really not what the point was. The point was to clean the house, that it could be orderly, to check your house on Pesach, the night of the Badika, the night before Passover, to check it for chametz, okay? Because there's a difference between cleaning and checking. Cleaning can be done in the day. Cleaning is to organize. The search for chametz is a rabbinically set up format. The rabbi said we want to do that at night, when people are in their house. At night, when if you take a candle and you put it into a crack, you'll be able to see well, because the contrast between the light and the darkness will illuminate the crack or the hole. So that is the search for chametz. That's done really at the night. So people, what they do, and I can't stop people from doing it. The rabbis of our modern times have said, okay, if you want to do this, then they try to explain why this is acceptable. But what people kind of do in the world, most people do this. If you choose to do this, I won't say you can't do this. Most people do is they clean the house so well, they know there's no chametz within 10,000 miles of their house, and then they go, okay, bigas chametz, and do 5 minutes search through the whole house, but it knows nothing there. I can't tell you that you can't do that, because I've seen modern day modern day rabbis trying to explain why that's acceptable. If you want to do it, you could do that kind. That's what a lot of people do that. But that's not really the way it's been set up. So if that works for you, you want to do that, and it's not as crazy for you to do that, I don't do that. And I think that this other way is easier, which means to clean the house have the house ready for checking, okay? Now, when you have the house cleaned, then you go around the house. And what are you going to do to make this blessing? Okay, that's on page 654. The blessing is, let's read the English first, on the night of the 14th, that's the night of Nisan, that's the night before Passover, 654, the night before Passover, the Seder, the chametz, the sutra chametz is made. It should be done with a candle as soon as possible after nightfall. You can't start before nightfall, which is a problem for us in Atlanta, because it starts really late. It really drives me nuts, because I don't finish my search until really, really late. It's very difficult by us because it starts so late. But you start right away. Like, you shouldn't start going to eat then, don't go, you start right at nightfall. The hours will just start right away. Okay? Before the search is begun, the following blessings are recited. Several people assist in the search. Only one recites the blessing for all. What I do, for example, in my house is we go and we divide up the labor. So I have, okay, you're going to go to this room, and we divide the kids up to go different places. I stand there, I make the blessing, everyone hears it, and then we go. Now you should try not to speak at all between the beginning of the blessing and the beginning of the search. Like in all the rules between blessings and doing the action. Now once you start the search, you can certainly talk about anything you need to do for the search. Right? You can say, go here, pass me that. You don't have to go, You don't do the whole search without talking. You can talk anything you need to talk about that has to do with the search. It's better after the blessing just to immediately start the search, and after you start it for a second, you could say, bring the candle over here, look in this corner. You talk freely about the search. If you talk about other things, it does not ruin the blessing. It's best not to. If your search goes for many hours, it's going to be impossible. I mean, I'm not saying your search will go. Mine goes for a long time, because I don't do that much cleaning before. But if your search goes for a long time, it's hard not to talk about. You can talk about other things. I mean, you shouldn't, but you'll probably end up doing that if it goes for a while. That's not such a problem as long as you start the search right away, and after your blessing, and any discussions about the search itself is certainly permissible. So one person can make the blessing for all the people, and other people can go and search. You could divide up. Husband's wife could do that also. Make it easier. You just go and say, okay, I'll take the kitchen, take the living room, Now, when you go around, you take your candle, and you start searching the house, and you're looking in the places that are somewhat hidden. That's the point of the candle. Now again, our world's a little bit different today, because I mentioned to you before, their closets used to be holes in the wall. That was a closet. Your pantry was a hole in the wall, right? This is incredible, right? So they would just leave a spot, and that's where they put the chametz. So they got to go inside and look. That's what they have to do. But today it's not so common. Also today we're really not so used to using a candle. I can't see anything with a candle at night. I start with the lights off and the candle. At a certain point I put the light on. It's an argument amongst the rabbis, but in the conclusion you can put the lights on, and you probably should put the lights on, because I think you're going to see a lot better with the lights and the candle. And then what happens is after we start with the candle, usually if you're doing it in an area that you can see, you don't need the candle. You can put the candle down, and an area you can see. And then when you're going to go into a corner, you have one of two options: the candle or a flashlight. Okay? So I would recommend you get a flashlight also, and you find any hard to find spots. You might not want to go in there with the candle. Okay? This is why, by the way, you're not allowed to use a Havdalah candle. Because a Havdalah candle is called a torch. It's called more than one wick. And if you're going to go underneath your couch to search there, you may put your house on fire. Okay? That's why you're not supposed to use something that spills. You're supposed to use like an oil that's going to spill. You're supposed to use a wick that's multi-wicked, because you may cause a fire. A single candle, but most people today switched at a certain point early on in the search to a flashlight. So now your house is somewhat clean, you're going through the house, and you are looking for chametz. You're not looking for dirt. Dirt's not a problem. You're looking for actual food that you might have left around or pieces of food that may be found. If you wash your clothes, you don't need to check your pockets because they've been washed in detergent. Okay? Now, there is a custom that we have, which is to put out 10 pieces of chametz in, I'm adding this, in Ziploc bags. I'm adding that part. Does not appear in the Talmud anything about Ziploc bags. But you want to put something that you don't end up at. Again, the crumbs all over the place, because then, okay, now you just dropped your crumbs all over the place. You don't want to do that. So make sure the bag is closed. It doesn't need to be Ziploc, it has to be whatever kind of bag you're using that it's closed. And we'll see when you burn it then as a service to your environmental concerned people, please take it out of the plastic bag before you do that. This is some of the most fascinating things I've ever seen. Like when I was in Israel, there's a custom that people, when they burn the chametz, they burn their lulav also. It's a very nice custom. I used to go, these people were very, very strict. They were very mahadir, they wanted to be very, very strict. So not only did they burn their lulav, but they burned their entire lulav case. A plastic case. The guy throws it in. I'm like, what? What does that mean? It's a black smoke, There is no religious, it is forbidden. You are destroying stuff and you're stinking up the world. So take it out of the plastic. There's no reason to burn the plastic. There's no plastic garbage. Now, you're going to put 10 pieces out. If you're going to do this custom, it's a good custom. You don't have to do it if it's hard for you. The reason for the custom, in the simple explanation, is because people are concerned that if you made a bracha, a blessing, to search for chametz, you don't find anything, maybe it's a blessing in vain. That's the simple reason why this custom began. The conclusion halacha is that we're not worried about that really. Because the blessing is not to find chametz, the blessing is to search for it. So I searched for it, I didn't find. So that is the custom, to put it around if you'd like 10 pieces, but you need to keep track of where you put them. And I recommend you write it down. Get a piece of paper, right? What we do in my house, we have the kids all hiding them, which sometimes it's been a problem. And I tell them to write it down, but I know one kid one time, he had 3 to put, and then he didn't remember what the third one was, and that could really mess you up. Therefore, there's a custom even to actually put the pieces of bread there less than an olive size. Not everyone does that, but there are those that put less than an olive size, because then if you lose it, then okay, then it's less than an olive size, and it's not a problem anyway, because it's too little to transgress owning chametz on Pesach. So you're going to put out 10 pieces when you search. You're going to go through your house, and you're going to search the house. So let's review. You've had the house cleaned. In Shulchan Aruch terms, that means that it's organized such a way that you could actually search. It's not a mess. Today, people clean the house, they get rid of all their chametz, and then they're doing this perfunctory. You can do that if you want. It in a certain way, makes your search easier, but it makes your time longer. You could break up into different groups of people doing it. You make a blessing for one, it goes for everything. Beforehand, you put out your 10 pieces of bread in a bag that won't get spilled, and keep track of where you have it. And then you search the house, and then you put all of the chametz you find, all of the chametz you find, plus the 10 pieces inside another bag that you're going to hold till tomorrow when you're going to dispose of it. Questions so far? Yeah.
Why 10?
10. 0. 10. I get a whole class on 10 today. So it's about 10. Right? So, yeah. Yeah, it's a Kabbalistic thing. It's not you could do one.
So I had a question about the lights. Because growing up, I always learned that you're not supposed to turn on the lights. Even though, you see better, but you don't see as well in the nooks and crannies because it casts shadows, which is why you use a candle. And they say also a flashlight doesn't have the central light, the way a flashlight is built, so it doesn't, you can't actually aim a flashlight and direct it. A candle glows, you know what I mean? It doesn't have that reflector that kind of reflects in a
Right.
funny way where you're missing that middle part.
So again, there are different opinions about it. There are some people that say keep the lights off, and some might say keep the more light the better. Most modern day postmen hold that flashlights are acceptable. Most Jews start out with the candle. They also have with the candle. That's the custom. So if that works for you, then do it. It honestly doesn't work for me. I really when it's dark and I'm using a candle, I don't see anything.
So it's not a problem to have light, meaning as long as you start with the candle, because
Right.
that's the.
Right, because
okay.
the custom, again, and there are acceptable opinions that say, no, the lights are actually better. It's going to give you more light, you still have the contrast. And the points you're saying are true, and that's why some people say, no, be a purist and do it this way. But it really depends on it depends, I think, not only just on the reality of the situation, it depends on what your eyes are used to doing. I mean, we're not used to candlelights. I'm not used to candlelights. In the dark, so I walk around the house, I'm not seeing anything, it's like a big room and I'm walking around, I don't see anything.
Is there something to the feather?
Yeah, so there's a Kabbalistic custom of having a feather and a spoon. If you buy one of these kits, they'll have you don't need to buy a kit. They scoop it up. I mean, I'm not getting into the Kabbalistic things down there, but the simple, they have a feather which they scoop up the crumbs, and the spoon that they kind of push it into the bag. The simple reason for it, not the mystical reason, the simple reason for it is because they wanted to make sure you had something to burn the next day. If a wooden spoon and the feather, you would burn it. And the reason why they wanted to do that was because they were afraid, and the simple reason that if you didn't find anything, and you wouldn't burn anything, you would not remember to do the second part, which is going to be the nullification. That's the simple reason. There's other mystical reasons why the feather is not. But the feather is just to scoop it up, and the spoon was to catch it and put it in. If you don't have one, you don't need to use it. But there are definitely people who have a custom to use that. Okay? So now, you've searched, you got your stuff, you have it in a bag. Now you got to make sure you keep it in a place that's not going to get lost. You're going to want to put it, you want to hang it on your door or something, hang it in a place that, that mice won't get to it, and little friends won't get to it, and whatever else you have. Your dog won't get to it, or, you want to put it away. Now, what are you going to do afterwards? So let's look here on page 654. After the search, the chametz is wrapped and put aside in a safe place to be burned in the morning. And the following declaration is made. So you're going to get rid of it in the morning and make the following declaration. I'm going to read to you in English. It says, any chametz letters in my possession which I have not seen, have not removed, do not know about, should be annulled and composed of the dust of the earth. Why am I only nullifying the stuff that I don't know about? Why do I not include the stuff I do know about?
You've sold the stuff you sold.
Well, I haven't sold anything yet, so then selling them the next day.
So this way you can eat your lunch.
That's right. That's exactly why. That's exactly right. Because what happens is, if you nullify everything, that's going to be a problem, because then you're going to get it in the morning, you eat breakfast, now you just reacquired it. You went out and you pulled out your stuff you wanted to eat, so that's not true. At night, you're not nullifying the stuff that you do know about, because then you're planning to use it and eat it the next day. Okay? So you're only nullifying the stuff you don't know about. Okay? Now, in the morning, next one, after the chametz has been burned, another is made. Now, so let's see what we're going to do now. In the morning, we're burning chametz. Why are you burning chametz? Is this the pyromaniac in us all? Yeah, of course. Yeah. So let me explain what this is. Very important to understand this halacha. There's a law in the Torah. It says that the chametz tashbisu, you need to destroy your chametz. Okay, now, destroying your chametz means actually destroying it. Okay, if you eat it, you won't have. If you eat all your chametz before, okay, you will not transgress the sin of owning chametz on Pesach because you don't have any chametz. but you will not done the positive commandment of destroying your chametz. There's a separate positive commandment to destroy the chametz, tashbisu, get rid of it. Okay, now, there is a discussion in the Talmud, what is the manner with which you need to destroy the chametz? The rabbis say, any way you want to destroy it. Crumple it up, throw it to the wind, flush down the toilet, anything you want to do, just destroy it. Make it unusable, get rid of it. Okay? This does not include leaving in a trash bin on your property. That does not include that because it's your trash bin and it's on your property, and if you just throw it in the garbage there, you've not destroyed it because it's still there. And I'm sure a lot of it is still edible. So this is the biggest problem, that we face is when it comes out in a year where the garbage doesn't come right before, it's a real hassle.
Can I compost it?
You have to explain to me how that process works, but I doubt it because it won't compost.
Can't get benefit.
It won't be rendered unfit for a dog immediately. It's the only way if it's rendered unfit for a dog to eat, then it's not chametz anymore. But I don't think just by sticking it in the compost it turns that fast, right? It needs some time.
Right, but there's an enzyme to put on top of it that smells foul. I
Yeah.
wouldn't eat it
Would
after that.
would a dog not eat it?
Probably not, it smells pretty foul.
So if you render, that's not the mitzvah of destroying it.
Okay,
But it is not called chametz once it is unedible for a dog.
What about for me?
But you might want to play around with that. It sounds a little bit sketchy. to me.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, then I won't.
Because I'm not sure if it's that. I mean, I don't know compost well enough.
So-
But it's got to be now. So there's a bit of a problem here. I mean, on times where the garbage trucks come, so that it's easier. There are different alternatives that we could do. You can go take it and throw it out, and put it in the trash, throw it in the public dumpster.
Is the compactor by a complex, right outside the complex, for example?
Yeah,
I think it's public, but I don't know if you have part ownership because you pay rent, you know what I mean? So is that,
We actually talked about that last year, because a lot of the condo complexes are not gonna, don't pick up Friday morning. So if you throw it into your complex, if you throw it into your common garbage, is that still on your property?
So did you ask me? Did I say
Yeah,
something?
we talked about it last year, and I don't remember
What did I say? I don't remember.
I think we
That's
just
good.
used the one over here, actually. I used the
So
one over
let's
here.
go through the size. If you're putting it in a communal one, so you're a part owner, as opposed to a public one, which you're nullifying. It's a really good question. I'll look. I think you should be able to do it. I think you should be able to do it personally because you could nullify it. It's still gonna. You could technically. I mean, this is not the best thing to do. If you have no choice, I don't know if you're allowed to do it legally, but if you put it into a garbage bag, not your personal dumpster, and you put it out on the street, not in front. So when they come, they'll see it there. It's not on your property. It's called already. It's in front of your house, but it's not. And you've nullified it there. That they may not be happy about you, but that technically would be okay. I think similarly in those complexes, I think that already, you could nullify it there, even though you may. I don't think you have ownership of that. You have usage of that. So I think it's okay. Now let me double check on that. Yeah.
Can I put to my neighbors before this, I will ask for his permission to his garbage?
Yeah. You're not a non-Jewish neighbor. Yeah, you say, mind if I throw my garbage away? And you can throw it there and say, I don't want it, and you nullify, it's not on your property. Yeah, you could do that.
Would this not be easier just to pour some bleach into your garbage bag right before you throw it out?
So technically, if you nullify, now I want to be clear about this. I think there's two different issues here. One is not having chametz, and one is the mitzvah of destroying chametz. So not having chametz means if you render it inedible, render it inedible, then you don't own chametz. So right, if you have stuff and you pour it bleach, I don't know, my house there's so much stuff going out, I don't know what's what, but if you technically would pour bleach on it and you would make it inedible, then you don't own that chametz. Yes, you could do that. You could even, I think, bring it here, just dump it in this dumpster, or bring it in a public dumpster, or so you could do all those options of getting it out of your possession or rendering it inedible. But what you need to know is you need to save some. Save, don't make it all inedible. Save at least a little bit that you are going to do the mitzvah of destroying. Okay? So if you want to pour on a lot of your stuff bleach, but make sure you save a piece of bread, you save an olive size worth, but make a big olive size for this one, that you can destroy. Now, how do you destroy chametz? Okay? How do you destroy chametz? So, it's an argument in the Talmud. One opinion is you just got to do the mitzvah of destroying it, just crumple it up and throw it to the wind, throw it into the toilet and flush. That's all good. According to the second opinion, no, you need to burn it. Okay? And he learns that the laws of an offering, with the leftover offering, you need to burn it. So, the halacha really, technically, is you could destroy it in any way you want, but the custom is to burn it. The custom is to burn it. So, and that's what the Ashkenazim do. The Sephardim are less, because the Sephardim don't really say that, but the Ashkenazi custom certainly is to burn it. That's why everyone does the burning in the morning. So again, but you don't have to go. If you want, you can throw away most of your stuff, flush it, throw it to the wind, pour bleach on it. So pouring bleach on it is not called destroying it, but it's called not chametz anymore. Flushing it and throwing it to the wind is all called destroying it, according to one opinion. But the custom would be to still save some bit, one piece of bread that you burn, or one egg size, a big olive size, let's say, that you burn. That's still a custom. That's what we do. So this is talking about now. You've searched and you checked your whole house, okay, you found some stuff, you have the stuff from breakfast, and now you're going to go take it in the morning and you're going to go and you're going to burn it, okay? So if it's too hard for you, then just take a tiny piece, take a little piece and just put it on fire. Now, sometimes what they do in these places that they burn it, they do a very bad mistake, which is you see these guys, they throw their bread into this garbage bin of fire, and after you throw it in, the guy comes along and pours kerosene on it. That's a mistake. Because what happens is that by pouring the kerosene on it, he made it not chametz anymore. The dog wouldn't eat it. So he's just undid your mitzvah of burning the chametz, because now it's not chametz anymore, it's just garbage. So if this guy doesn't get waste away, let it burn first. You want it to be burnt. So this got a little bit that gets burnt. Okay? Fine. And that is our custom. Now look what happens after we burn it. It says the next thing. Now we're going to add any chametz in the morning after chametz has been burned, the fondant was made. Any chametz or leaven that is in my possession, whether I recognized it or not, whether I have seen it or not, either way, whether I moved it or not. Now I'm including everything. This is my last elixir, my last chance. Should be annulled, become almost the dust of the earth. Now when you say this, say it in English. You can read it in the Hebrew too if you want, but say it in English. It is more important to say it in English. This is not a prayer. Okay? This is not a prayer. This is not the time to practice your Hebrew. Okay? This is not a prayer. What this is a legal statement of nullification. If you say it in Hebrew or Aramaic and you don't know what you're saying, you haven't done anything. So you got to make sure you know what you're saying. You know, the main thing is to say it in the language you understand. Okay? Fine. Okay, that is the... Now, one more point. The reason, we said before that even though you're gonna nullify, you need to get rid of it. If you get rid of it, why you need to nullify it? If I already got rid of everything, why should you need to nullify it? And the answer is not because you missed something. The problem is maybe you missed something, you missed a bottle of Jack, and now you say, oh, wow, I didn't nullify it, and I went to destroy everything, and I thought I got rid of it, and I missed the bottle of Jack. Ooh, I really don't want to get rid of that now. And now it'll be too late. Now you've transgressed owning it. So to cover our bases in both ways, we say nullify and destroy. Okay? And also, in case you might miss something and then want to hold on to it, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. We say search and destroy, right? And then in case you miss something and you may want to hold on to it, nullify it, and then it will not be yours. So if you find it on Pesach, you didn't transgress. The problem though is, we're going to say that if you just nullified it on beforehand, and you search, and you then find a bottle of Jack Daniels, you have a problem because even though you didn't transgress, you still got to get rid of it. Because you can't say, well, I nullified it, I'm going to put it away. That means you still want it. So that's where one of the aspects of selling it, where it's going to help you. Because when you're going to make the sale, you're going to think to yourself, I'm selling anything that's in my possession. And therefore, even if I miss something, it's not mine. So although, when you're going to make your sale, you're going to have to put the chametz that you're selling in a location, right? You got to put it in a cabinet, close the cabinet, right, sold. Okay, you put it into a cabinet. If you don't have a cabinet, you have to just put up a screen that's like, 36 inches in front of it, and put it away. It has to be blocked off and sold, marked as sold. But we're going to write in the document of sale that if you missed something, you didn't put it in that spot, I'm going to sell to the non-Jew everything of chametz that you own. So if there's a bottle, you find to put the bottle there, you can take the bottle and you can put it in the place where you sold it because it's not yours anymore, or your chametz is sold. That's why the sale is so good, because it takes you out of so many nerve-wracking situations. Because you have in mind you're selling everything you own. Now, do not sell your non-Pesachdik vessels. In other words, do not sell your chametzdik vessels. Why not?
You have to
You
retotal.
have to retotal them. If you sell your chametzdik pots and pans, then afterwards, now they belong to a non-Jew. He's selling them back to you. Now you have to go dip them in the mikvah. Not worth it. So don't sell. But what we are going to sell is any chametz that's stuck onto your pot that you might have missed. That we're going to sell for you. Okay. So that's the three-pronged process: search and destroy, nullify. We should understand what you're nullifying. Okay. I keep doing that. Sorry. Search and destroy, which means check it the way we talked about. Then destroy, which we've said is the mitzvah of destroy. Technically, is any actual act of destroying, but we try to do it with the act of burning it. And if you find, so you have to burn it. That's what we do. But you don't have to do all your stuff like that. You can just leave over one little piece of stuff that you're going to burn, and the rest you can throw in the garbage, get it off your property if you get it out before time, or pour bleach on it. That's not called destroying. That's called not owning it. But some you want to save to destroy, and the other way to destroy it is the burning. And then we also nullify the stuff. And then for good measure, it's recommended you sell anything that you either are going to want to keep or anything that you may have inadvertently missed. Questions, comments, thoughts on that so far? Yeah.
When do the contracts need to be turned back in?
So I'm going to write that I need them by probably my Thursday night. Why you don't want Thursday night?
Thursday. Well, when are we faxing them?
What?
When are we going to fax them?
Well, so you're talking about me and you? Yeah, so we'll do it earlier then. I mean, Thursday, I'll write it Thursday early in the evening. Anyway, yeah.
It takes place after we give the
Yeah.
contract.
The
Okay.
yeah, the kind of, like, the
So then
sale,
on
the sale.
Thursday, you're kind of stuck
No,
with
no,
that
no,
week.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no. The sale only goes into effect right before the chametz becomes forbidden to you. The sixth
Okay.
hour.
Is that like written on the contract?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just need to get it together.
Okay.
But really technically you have to understand like this. Although we know you can't have chametz in Pesach, there's a very important rule you need to understand. Pesach is different than most of the holidays in terms of when it starts. Because although the holiday starts from nightfall, right? In Pesach, the Torah says in the middle of the day before Pesach, you already can't own chametz. So at the end of the 6th hour, midday, from the Torah you can't own chametz, you can't eat chametz. The rabbis were nervous you would mix up cloudy days and what the time would be. So the rabbis moved it up. They said until the 4th hour of the day, which is going to be something like 11-ish or something like that. You're allowed, I'm sorry, probably like 10 something, you're allowed to eat. For the next hour until the beginning of the 5th hour, you're going to be allowed to sell it and get pleasure from it, but you can't eat it. And then the rabbis are going to say to you, that they set up, that even before the 6th hour, we want you to get rid of it. And that's going to be the times you're going to see. There will be on the email, we'll have the times where the rabbi said, stop eating it. We don't want you to get messed up and eat it on Pesach, because maybe it's a cloudy day. You don't know when midday is, And then they'll tell you, okay, you could now still, if you want to sell it, or you want to own it, you could own it. You could feed it to your animals. By feeding your animals is a big problem, because you can't feed chametz things to your animals.
You can't benefit.
You can't benefit from it. That's why I asked you about the goldfish. I went out and I bought 50 goldfish yesterday. I did. I put them in the creek. So there's 50 goldfish in the creek now.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy another 100. They cost 29 cents.
Goldfish?
But yeah, the problem is that I'm feeding them, and I looked at the thing, and it's all chametz. So you got to find what to feed.
Did you buy it now, like in preparation for Pesach, or
No.
it had nothing to?
No, I just, it was the spring, and my granddaughter was here, so I wanted to go do something with her, so I bought these goldfish. So, but now I got to figure out what to feed them. But then in the 5th hour, you're going to be allowed to still feed your animals and get benefit and sell it. And then at the end of the 5th, the rabbi said, okay, get rid of it. Even though from the Torah you have for the 6th hour, get rid of it before the 6th hour, so we're going to burn it. There'll be a time we got to burn it by. So you want to make sure, even though sometimes you come last second and you burn it, you want to actually make sure that you could get enough burning where at least a good olive size of the thing is totally charred, and you have time to nullify it, because you can't once it's past the time, it's too late to nullify it, because it's not yours anymore. Once the time is forbidden to own it, it's not yours, you can't nullify it. Yeah, you have a question?
You have a fire pit. Are you going to do the fire, or are we going to go down to Beth Jacob?
I go down to Beth Jacob just because it's easier for me, because they got some guy sitting there, and
Do you know what time they're going to have their fire pit?
Yeah, it's all morning. You'll see based on the times after you eat.
Okay.
Time after you eat until I don't know the times right now. We'll print the times out. You get there, half an hour before the end of time of burning, and you throw it in.
So even though we have like clocks today, and like how you talked about the calendar being so exact
Right.
to the, even though we have that set up, like there's no way you can confuse a cloudy, because you look at your clock, you're not looking at clouds. There's no.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's a good question. Certain things the rabbis set up decrees and said that the decrees are not binding if the case changes. But certain ones rabbis said no. These are to stay no matter what happens. And you really see how good it is, because I don't understand how every Pesach I am literally to the last second in everything. I'm eating the chametz. I'm looking. You got 3 minutes to eat the chametz, you know. And you got 2 minutes to get rid of it, to feed the, and I gotta burn it. If they didn't do that for me, I don't know what I would do. Go out of my mind. So somehow still.
Yeah, because this is calming. This is calming.
Yeah. So somehow it really actually works out pretty well that you have this situation. Okay, so that's the bedika, that's the search and destroy. That's how we get rid of them and clean our house space. Now let's talk about a little bit for a few minutes. I know Rabbi Stein went through some of the products. Let me just say a couple things about this to understand some of the backdrop for this. As I mentioned in one of our other classes, but to understand some of the issues of Pesach. I said to you before that if you take chametz and you make it inedible for a dog, then it's nothing. Now it's not food. Okay? That's the general rule. Anything that becomes inedible to the point of that a dog wouldn't eat it is not a problem. That's the fetish we have with bleach. We have this bleach thing, or bleach everything. The reason for that is because if there's chametz, then it becomes rendered inedible. Now, the problem is once it's chametz, any level of disqualifying it, less than that won't work. If you make it inedible for a human, but still for a dog would eat it, it won't lose its name of chametz. Okay? There is a type of chametz that never became so edible in the first place for people. Okay, things like I guess plaster of Paris and these things that are never really edible. They never got totally inedible. A person could still eat them, but they're gross, and a person will eat them if he really has to. That's called chametz nuksha. That's called chametz that just didn't make it. Tried, but didn't make it. So that chametz you can't own on Pesach. Okay, if a person ate it, they wouldn't be transgressing a chorus penalty, but you can't. The rabbis don't want you to have that. You can't own it, and so that's an issue. Now, if it becomes totally inedible to the point where it's nothing would eat it, or its form is totally changed, then it's going to be permissible. If you have a mixture of chametz, and what happens is that there's chametz in there, but it is now in the mixture lost its name of chametz, it's disgusting, that's also going to be permitted to keep. This is the backdrop of the cosmetic story, okay? I mentioned it a little bit before. I want to say something about it because I was a Stein yesterday about it. We were talking about it and what the AKC printed here. So I want to just clarify a couple things. Both of those things are called mixtures, tarovis, and chametz nuksha. These are mixtures that are, there's certain mixtures of chametz that are forbidden. Of course, if you have something mixed in, in a dish and it's edible, that's not going to be okay. But when it's mixed into the point where it's not edible, well, the chametz never really became valid chametz, and then it gets mixed up to the point where it can't be eaten. Those things will be permitted to use on Pesach. They may even be permitted to eat them on Pesach. Now, wait a minute. Why are you going to eat something that's so disgusting no one would eat it? Well, the answer is because, let's say, it's the coating of your medicine. So right now, it's not edible. You're swallowing it. It would not taste good. A dog wouldn't want to eat what's covering your medicine. But it's now a mixture. It's not edible. The law is that if you're taking that kind of medicine, that would be permissible. Even though normally we would say, if you're eating this thing that is so disgusting, but you love disgusting things, right? Then you've just made this food because you say, gross. I love it, you know. And when people smell something bad, they go, "Oh, that stinks. Here, smell." If it stinks, why do you want me to smell it? I don't get it. But okay, you're a guy who likes to eat things that are gross. So if you do that's called achshiveh, you've made it important and be forbidden for you. But that's not true by medicine, because you're not making the food important. The food is disgusting. You're taking it for the health purposes. So simply put, the medicines that you have that are the pills, you could take pills, okay? Now they write here, vitamins they don't want to be so lenient about. You have to really look into that. The reason why they don't want to be so lenient maybe has to do more with a sense of they seem to, a lot of times, a lot of sources don't seem to credit vitamins with doing as much, and therefore they don't seem to take it as seriously. Okay? That could or could not be, depending on the kind of vitamin and what we're talking about. But, you know, which I told you that's been my discussion by Stein in the AKC on some other issues, which is a question of, you know, there are certainly vitamins and health things that will have a better effect than regular medicines, so there should be no difference, right? Anyway, bottom line is that on medications that you're having, that the coating is going to be disgusting, which is most of the cases. So it is permissible to take that because you're not making it important as food, you're doing it for medical purposes, okay? Now, if you have something that's going to be liquid flavored, that's a bigger problem. Because that's not made to be disgusting. That's usually made to have good taste. You got to be careful about that. If you have a medicine that has kitniot in it, what is the wonderful world of Ashkenazi kitniot?
Can't eat it.
Ashkenazim wanted to make sure that we lose weight on Passover. And therefore,
It's stuff with matzah.
this year I'm trying no matzah doing that there. I'm trying kimra. I'm gonna try it. You gonna eat matzah? I'm
We
trying
have
not
one
to.
box of
Yeah, we have
Shmara
one.
for Seder, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's my plan also. Hope I have enough quinoa though. I need to check. Did you got a lot of quinoa?
Not yet.
We didn't get it.
Yeah, so please, let's coordinate, because I need to have a lot of quinoa, because I'm gonna try that also. Try no matzah this year, so for Seder. And maybe I'll have a bite for the holiday. Anyway, what is kitniot? Kitniot is a stringency of the Ashkenazic Jewry. And there are a lot of stringencies for Passover. Most of them we're not going to take on, but some people are. Some people don't eat garlic. I mean, like I told you, you don't want to be Chabad during this time of year. They have every single. Some people don't eat potatoes. You eat your matzah in the bag. That your whole head's in the bag. You got to put your head in. And fry it. So people do a lot of stuff. They don't. Some people won't eat vegetables. I don't know what you eat then. The people don't eat dairy products on Passover. They're afraid of. So people have a lot. So kitniot is an actual custom that Ashkenazic Jewry really has accepted for many years. And there is some talk about, there's one rabbi, I don't know how authentic he is in Israel, who was trying to see if he could nullify the custom.
Liv would like to convert Sephardi.
We're very happy. We have quinoa though. Quinoa is good.
It's basically a paleo diet then.
Yeah, that's what it basically is.
Oh,
But
juice and potato.
Yeah.
that's right. You see? So quinoa really is going to be the saving grace for us right now. But the reason why Ashkenazim, there's many reasons why they forbade kitniot. One reason was because kitniot is often made into bread. You can make rice bread, you can make rice dough,
Cornbread.
you cornbread. You can make things that are easily mistakable with other things. Another reason, which is really applicable, I don't know if I've seen it in America as much, I saw it in Israel a lot, is that kernels get mixed up. You buy a bag of rice, you could find a few wheat kernels in there. You can come up with real problems. So Ashkenazim don't eat kitniot. Thank God that they didn't have the quinoa, so the quinoa never was part of the decree. That's really what it is. It was from South America. They didn't have it in Europe. They never saw it, so it never became part of it. I'm sure there's someone who wants to put it as part of the degree. I'm sure someone says, "Hey, this really should be kidney-out. Don't eat that either." But we're not. Thank God, we're not taking that approach, and we'll never take such an approach because there's no reason to take such an approach. So, but the fact is that because kidney-out is a problem, so we avoid eating kidney-out. There are some people, and today people are more strict. I don't know. There was some discussion if kidney-out was a problem of derivatives of kidney-out. People were not always as strict as that. Today, I see more people are. They used to not have the Coke. They have the Coke now with the sugar, which is health food now because we don't want to use corn syrup. So now you get real sugar. So, but in the past, people weren't so strict about derivatives of corn things. Now they are. But the reason why I'm telling you this is you should know is that although the Ashkenazi custom is not to eat kidney-oat, there's no problem in owning kidney-oat. And there's no problem getting benefit from kidney-oat. And there's even no problem in taking medicines that have kidney-oat. The decree is not on that. So if you get a medicine that has a kidney-oat issue, a flavored medicine that's flavored with kidney-oat, and that's you could determine that's all there is in it, you're allowed to take it on Pesach because the rabbi's decree of kidney-oat was not made in a place for a health issue. So that's an important thing to note. Now, back to what we said before. Yeah.
Also about derivatives, what about stuff like, I know, like mustard greens, things like that?
What's mustard greens?
Like
The leaf of
the leaf of the mustard seed. So like the seeds.
So it's just
mustard.
the green, yeah.
It's the green,
like
is
that.
that
Green is not the seed.
what?
Because the mustard seed is kidney-out.
It's the case, the
But
mustard
what about the leaf?
leaves.
It's like kale. It's like it's like green.
I gotta put down. I never heard that.
It's very popular down here. in the
Yeah,
South.
they have it in Kroger right next to the mail.
Oh yeah? It's not collard greens, is it?
It's the third one.
It does have a very kind of spicy, mustardy, horseradishy kind of taste.
Pretty
to
darn
it.
good.
Yeah, I love it. I like it.
I never heard of that, mustard greens. I hear it, it's a good rationale. We had one other question we asked before. What was that question you asked? Oh, about the garbage in the garbage dumpsters. One of the things is garbage in
So I guess kidney-oat,
car
does that have
garbage.
to be
A
sold?
compactor.
You can own your kidney.
I mean, some of them you can actually push a button and it makes it it actually makes it work, and then everything's all compacted. And I mean, I would expect that to nullify it because at that point everything's smushed together.
I don't know, it's not gonna make it inedible. Anyway, so mustard greens, that's an interesting question. I mean, they're not part of the thing at all. They're probably totally separate.
So what would be the difference between like oats and then oat grass or wheatgrass?
Wheatgrass, yeah.
that you juice?
Wheatgrass I don't think is a problem.
What is it? Is it sprouted wheat?
It's sprouted, but it's without the seed. It's just the
Take the grass
the
and you juice it.
hay before
But that turns into wheat, right? Eventually turns into wheat.
2 months later.
Yeah,
I mean,
would it be chum? I don't know if it'd be hummus, but I'm sure it's not gonna be allowed.
yeah.
What I meant by derivatives was more like the oils. Some people were leaning about oils.
Like peanut
Flax
oil.
Yeah,
Flax is okay.
like meaning that the people were sometimes lenient about if there was a derivative that was mixed into something, like a corn syrup mixed. Today people are more strict. I don't know, but it used to be that people were more lenient in terms of derivatives. Anyway, but the problem with kidney is you could own kidney oat. You can get benefit from kidney oat. You can't eat kidney oat, but you could use it. And for medicines, you could take kidney oat. There's no problem on that.
So you can feed the dog the kidney,
You can feed
right?
your dog kidney oat, yeah. You can't feed your dog, as you can feed them with kidney oat, right. Now, based on what I said to you so far, if something is disgusting in a mixture, you could use it then. So your shampoo and all that stuff that may have chametz in it, let's say it does, so the halach is you could use it. Now, there's a general rule as follows. This is a general rule, and I asked Rabbi Stein yesterday because the AKC printed out a leniency of the OU. You want to rely on it. It's interesting that it changed to me because this is not what was done in America for many years. But like this, the general rule is any cosmetic product that you have that's in a cream, an ointment, a salve, all of those are permissible because they are inedible and therefore they've lost their status as chametz. Okay? But things that are in a liquid form, those are a little more problematic because those could have alcohol. As I mentioned to you in the introductory class we did, so the alcohol in some of these things may actually be chametz. Now, if the alcohol is made, isopropyl alcohol is from petroleum, that's not a problem. But ethyl alcohol can be made from grain, so that can be a problem. Now, what they do is they denature them. They make them like not really good, so people won't drink them. Now, Moshe Feinstein says that that people, what they do is you get these drunks who will still drink it, and they could say it is actually, they'll even be edible, the perfumes in that state. There's another opinion that says that they can fix it quite easily. If something's been denatured alcohol, they could actually do certain things to make it fix it up a little bit, and they'll drink it. So Moshe Feinstein was strict about things that were edible in liquid form, like perfumes and hairsprays and mouthwashes and those type of things. There he said that a person should get kosher Pesach stuff for that. I believe Rabbi Stein told me that the AKC came out, the OU came out, allowing the perfumes, saying no, that they're denatured, and therefore they are, according to him, they're already disgusting. He said he put that in the book, and if you want to rely on that, then I'm not going to say that a person can't rely on that because that's already what people are doing. But it's just a little surprising me because their emotion for many years was what people did, and they wouldn't rely on that. So you could choose what you want to do in terms of the colognes and those things. Look here on page, you're in the book. So page 13, he goes through that. Non-food items do not require certification. Aluminum foil. This is very good because this is what I told you last year. But some people are strict about like aluminum foils and about plates, and they say that they put this stuff on it, this starch on it. But he brings the leniency, and I also told you that's okay. Shaving lotion, he said, when it says lotion, I'm looking for the stick no, that's okay, also fine. I don't see where he put the one that I sent to you. Yeah, he also, did you see in there anything about like something like perfume? Is perfume on there? Yeah, perfumes. Okay, so that's the AKC wrote here on page 13, they permitted perfumes. Okay? That's a new sock. It's a new ruling. It's not like a motion. It's very interesting to me that they took that. But again, the basis of that question is that just if you want to be strict or not, is that according to everyone, if it's not in a liquid state, these things have become inedible and you can't fix them. According to Rav Moshe, perfumes that have ethyl alcohol are still in an edible state or can be made edible very easily, and therefore they are strict. The OU now is saying that perfumes, people won't drink them, or it's too hard to go and to make them edible, and so if you want to rely on that, then that's your choice. But if you look at the bottom page here, things that go in the mouth or on the mouth, they were strict. So even though, for example, lipstick is not a problem, we say you get a new one because you put it on your mouth things before. Those are stringencies of things that go into the mouth. Toothpaste, even though Moshe says all toothpaste is not edible and it's not a problem of chametz, but still, because people are putting it in their mouths, we are generally stricter about toothpaste and mouthwash.
So do
yeah.
we need to get a new tube of toothpaste? Like we have Tom's and Maine, do we need a fresh tube?
You should,
or-
you
Okay.
should, you do. Just a Passover thing. You really need it? Not really, but you know, it's a good thing to do.
Okay.
Maybe you stuck your toothbrush and you had
Mhm.
you know, there's certain OCD things that are acceptable on Pesach.
See, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do it?
Get a tube of toothpaste.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't.
I find that rather hard to believe.
I do, no way. Why would I do that?
If you get a new house, could you toothpaste in the house?
Turns out I'm getting a new house, but
It's because the toothpaste was in the house. So anyway, that's our session today, and we'll call it a day.